Hello, everyone. James Worth from Question Pro here. Really excited to have some great guests and to have all of you joining us today. We're going to be starting in just a quick second here, and we're going to talk about launching a complete small biz feedback program. So give us just a second to get everything dialed in, and we'll be underway. All right, welcome. Let's go ahead and get started. Hopefully everybody has been able to grab a seat, find the comment stream. Please send us comments. We're going to answer any questions that come throughout, and definitely we have some time allotted at the end to be able to answer those questions as well. So throw them at us. We're going to roll up our sleeves. Going to get our hands dirty. We're going to get some feedback done. So here we go. I've got some great guests joining me today. First, Riva Lazansky, I'd like to introduce you. She's our small biz expert influencer today. A great pedigree of influencer, entrepreneur background. We're very excited to have you here, Riva Lazansky. Hello.
Hi, James. It's really great to be here and to actually to help a small business. I think this is going to be so useful for all the entrepreneurs out there.
Awesome, very cool. Well, can you just give us a quick, 1 or 2 minute introduction about you and your background, because I think it's very impressive, and I'd like people to know who we have on the call here.
So I've had my own business for a little over 6 years now, almost 6.5 years now, and we're a content company. We produce content for and about small businesses and entrepreneurs for a number of corporate clients, a number of small business websites and organizations like SCORE and the Small Business Development Centers and other places that serve small businesses. Prior to that, for 20-something years, I was the editorial director at Entrepreneur Magazine, and prior to that, I had some other jobs at Entrepreneur Magazine. So all told, for about 32 or 33 years, I've been working with small businesses.
Awesome, very cool. That's a great background, and really excited to have you on the call. We also have another special guest, and this is a great picture of her that I was able to find online. It ties in very nicely because we're talking to Kristen Farrell of Sunscape. Kristen, welcome today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
We're really excited to have you here. This is going to be a great conversation. You are our small biz representative today, so
Yes.
So ask all the questions, speak out for small biz everywhere, and represent.
I'm excited. This is going to be really interesting.
Very cool. And then there's me, James Worth, marketing manager for Question Pro. I'll be your comedic relief for today, and we're going to have some fun and have some good conversation. So I'm excited to have all of you join us. So thank you. So let's talk about a little bit of why. Hopefully, and we won't spend a lot of time on this, but hopefully there's people that are attending today know they want to launch a feedback program. Hopefully we've got that piece out of the way, but why is it important? And so Riva and Kristen, please jump in on these too. We have a couple of quick factoids here from a few different sources. So this one, Bain & Company studies, a 5% increase have shown to increase profitability, 5% increase in customer retention, have been shown to increase a company's profitability by 75%. So, by a show of hands, anybody out there want to increase their profitability by 75%? Not a bad deal. What do you think about this, you guys?
James, I think let's start with the fundamentals of small business ownership. And I think probably part of the problem is that small businesses and entrepreneurs are so busy trying to do what they do, right? To sell product, to serve the customer, whether they're in a service business or in a retail business, that they forget the fundamentals. At startup, you kind of put these things into place, but at startup, you don't have any customers. And so as you gain customers, you haven't really formed any programs like how are you going to talk to them? What do they want? Customers are, the whole point of a business is to bring in new customers, and if you're not paying attention to what they want and the changing wants and needs, you're going to be in trouble.
Sure. Totally. Awesome. Well, that's great. So here's another one. So according to American Express, and by the way, American Express Open has some great content that Riva has authored and contributed to that. So if you're a small business, you definitely want to check out American Express Open. It's a great platform. And here's a study that they did. 7 in 10 Americans said that they are willing to spend more with companies they believe provide excellent service. So, if we're talking about those fundamentals, one of them being providing great customer service, I know that it can be overwhelming with all the things that need to be done, but if we can get back to those basics and do great customer service, increase our retention by 5% for 75% better profit, and here we know that customers are willing to maybe pay a little more when they get great customer service.
Fundamentally, when you think about it, customer service makes the customer's job easier. There's less for them to do. If you're providing the excellent customer service, if there's a problem, it's easier on you when they're proactive, or when you call them. All of a sudden, if you call a company because you're having a problem, all of a sudden something triggers in and someone is there to help you, as opposed to you call and things fall on deaf ears. And so it's about from the beginning finding out what your customers want, to all the way through the process is reacting to them when they have an issue. It might not even be a problem. Even I think that sometimes people, especially on social media, they're always, they're so maybe now a little bit more aware of reacting to problems. They forget to just say a simple thank you if somebody says something nice. And I think that's just as key and just as important.
Yeah, sure, definitely. Kristen, can I put you on the spot here for a minute? How do you guys handle customer service? Tell me about how it runs for your organization.
We are really hands-on with our customer service. We have a lot of just one-on-one interaction. Like, we don't send out the form letter emails with things. And because we are a smaller company, we all kind of help out all departments, and so all of us have kind of had our hands in customer service, depending on who has the time or the knowledge based on what the issue is. And so we've found that it is vital for repeat business, especially that since we've delved heavily into individual online sales, because for years and years we were mainly just working, we wholesaled out to the junior chain market, mall stores, and etc. But now, the past couple of years, we've been working a lot. Like, our web store has grown really, it's grown really well. But but with that, you have a whole nother department of, individual customer issues and complaints, and problems that you can't brush off, because those are, that's an actual person. That's not just a corporation that you're working with. And
sure.
In order to maintain a positive reputation, you've got to make that a priority. And it does get overwhelming being a small business and juggling all of these different things, having our wholesale, mass selling end, and then dealing with the individual customer and all of that. It does get hard juggling all of that, but it is vital that you make the customers feel special, especially right now where the faceless corporate entity, like, that's what people feel about, like, they feel that way about companies, and they don't feel like companies have that much of a heart. And so if you do show customers that they are special, they will come back to you over and over and over again. It's just is a challenge to be able to give everybody that kind of attention when you are juggling so much as a small business.
Sure. Well, it sounds like we're singing off the same hymnal here, too, so we don't want to belabor the point too much, so I definitely want to show everybody how to get this going, how to set it up. So, but I do want to cover one more thing here, actually, which is this one. We'll just wrap up this first but why section here with this. Gartner predicts that by 2014, and this was in 2012, refusing to communicate by social media will be as harmful to companies as ignoring phone calls or emails is today. And hello, people, it's 2014. So, and I think that we're seeing this to to a large degree. You know, we can't separate out and say, oh, well, maybe social media is a nice to do kind of thing when I have time, because often it involves customer service related, especially issues and complaints. And if we ignore those, it's like, you know, we're not even answering the phone call anymore. So Reva, you're a big proponent of social media and the impact on small businesses. What do you have to say about this? Do you think this is true today?
I think it really is, particularly for the bigger companies, but I think it's starting to filter down to the smaller ones. I want to say about 3 or 4 months ago, somebody, and I don't remember who it was, did this kind of joke on Twitter to the airlines, and it was some kind of customer service. I can't remember the details, but I remember that the airlines were responding, and I remember that the person who did it, and it was a pretty high-profile person, said the only person who really got what we were doing was American Airlines, because American, if you've ever loaned them and had a problem, their customer service is right on top of any Twitter problem you have. And I think that's the key. Twitter, particularly because that's the way a lot of people tend to the medium that they tend to use their customer service complaints are, because it has the biggest chance to go viral, right? That's why people are complaining on Twitter to a company. One of the keys to that is it can't be an afterthought. You have to have somebody there monitoring what people are saying about you and responding immediately, because that's the expectation. The expectation on Twitter or any social medium is not someone will get back to you in 24 hours. I don't think people expect you to solve maybe the problem immediately, but they expect kind of an interim, yes, thank you, we'll look into it, and we'll get back to you, you know, in the next 24 to 48 hours. If you do that, you buy yourself some time, and people don't get angry and then start peppering and having their friends do it, and then it could potentially become a mess.
Sure. Sure. Okay, so the response time is the important thing, not necessarily resolving the issue, but getting a response out there and letting them know you're working on it. Certainly.
Yes.
And and there is certainly urgency on Twitter with the half-life of a tweet being 18 minutes long. You know, they're definitely looking for a fast response. So so excellent, great background. Thank you for that. So you know, for this next stage, I say, let's do this. Let's get in here and look at this platform as a solution for feedback, and so I'm going to switch gears here a little bit and talk about a couple of things really quickly. So one, if you're watching this, so here's the background for this. We have launched 10 industry-specific customer feedback guides. And so this is 6 steps to complete your customer feedback program. Each one has a website. If businesses go to questionpro.com/customer feedback, you can, or excuse me, questionpro.com/feedback, www.questionpro.com/feedback, you'll be able to see the guides that we've released so far, and we'll continue to release more guides as we get more feedback about the industries that need them. So since we're talking, at least in part, about with Kristen about the e-commerce side of their business, we're going to grab the e-commerce guide here. And so this is where 2 things I want to plant 2 seeds here. One is follow along with your own business. If you're new to Question Pro, that's great. Sign up for a free account. You'll be able to do that right within your feedback guide. They're all easily customizable, so if it doesn't exactly fit your industry, just pick one close, and you'll be able to jump right in and get the benefit of these. And so that's one thing. And the second thing is, please ask questions. We have some Question Pro people in the audience of the stream. If I don't get to your question, we'll definitely get back to everybody that asks a question. And we also have a Q&A section set aside at the end of this, so that we can make sure we ask those questions. And I'll pull them up on the screen too if I see any that fit what we're talking about. So the first thing is to go to questionpro.com/feedback, and then pick your feedback guide. And I'm just going to use this kind of as my cheat sheet. So in the interest of full disclosure, I have gone through and done a few of these things just to keep things moving for us, so we don't have to wait for me to stumble around and find a logo or things like that. But it's really easy to do, and I'll show you where to do it also as we go along here. So this is the one for e-commerce, and it's a great place for us to start. So the first thing that you're going to do is click Get Started with this program. And I've already done that, but you can do it quickly and see that it's very quick, very easy to to add a Question Pro account, to open a Question Pro account for free. And what it's going to do is, the benefit of that is it's going to auto-load the survey for you, which looks essentially out of the box like this. And as I mentioned, it's very easy to customize from here, but we wanted to get you to hit the ground running, so to speak, with being able to launch this very quickly. We think in and out, you could be done in about 20 minutes. We're going to take a little bit longer here to make sure we slowly walk through the process, but it should not take very long to implement a customer feedback solution for your business and immediately begin getting the benefits that we talked about in the beginning. But then, you know, the thing that we didn't talk about is just having that information on a weekly, monthly basis about how things are going. You know, one thing that we like to point out is if you do a customer feedback survey one time and it's just on a 0 to 100% scale, you know, what is your customer feedback rating, and you get a measurement of 80%. Well, that could be absolutely an amazing customer satisfaction rating for you if you've been working through a lot of issues and you used to be at 60% and now you're at 80%. But on the flip side, if you normally have a 95% customer satisfaction rating and you don't realize it and you're at 80%, you could celebrate that 80% and not realize that you're way down on the level of customer satisfaction that your customers are experiencing. So this is something we definitely want to measure over time. That's a critical point of this. So this feedback program guide is designed to get you in there and get you measuring so that you can get that benefit. So here's what the survey looks like out of the box. And then, Kristen, for you, we've just gone in really quickly and added this survey here. So this is on the back end. This is what you see after you log in and you're editing your survey. And we can preview it at any time by clicking this link. So essentially, this is what it looks like right now. And so here's our survey. And we've kept this pretty short. It's really easy to add questions if you want to ask more. I'm actually going to suggest that we take a question or two away because you know, we want to make sure that we make this, give people a bite-sized feedback survey here so they can quickly give you some great information and then get back on with their day.
So, James, can I ask you, is there a rule of thumb of how long you should do a survey? You know, how long your survey should be in terms of how long it would take one of your customers to fill it out?
Well, we definitely talk about 3 to 5 questions in length is a pretty typical best practice for a customer satisfaction survey. You know, we certainly see them that are longer, but we also see a much higher abandon rate if it's longer. And there are all kinds of little tips and tricks, like you want to write, it's good to do it in the AP style of inverted pyramid writing where you have the most important things up front, and then so in case somebody does abandon partway through, you get the most important questions answered. That's one thing, especially with longer surveys. But if you're in the 3 to 5 you know, question area, there shouldn't be too many issues with that length of survey, especially if they know, hey, we're seeing all the questions here that we're going to be asked, so that we can jump right through. So here's what it starts out with. How satisfied are you with the following? And we're asking on a few different categories for them to rate us: very unsatisfied versus very satisfied. So it's one question, but you get 3 different data points from that. And here's another variation of that. How satisfied are you with the following: website, customer service, pricing? So Kristen, for you, is there one of these, because they're pretty similar here, you know, we have a little bit of a different method of answering, the slider versus just checking the box in this bipolar scale here. But do you have one of these that you think maybe speaks a little bit more to you than the other? Because I'd like to probably, if it were my survey, I would eliminate one of them.
I would, yeah. I like the slider just because I think it just looks cleaner and a little more interactive. Looks a little more personal. Like when you see the forms, you know, you check the little form boxes. That, I don't know, that seems a little impersonal. I just like the slider. I think that it's cuter. Okay,
we'll go with cuter. We're going to go with cuter question type here.
That's what I do, is aesthetics. That's what my industry is, so you want to go with as cute as possible.
Okay, well, see, that fits. You got the brand voice down. We're going with cuter. So So we're going to come back in here into the admin tool here and just delete this first question. And so, I think there are 4 questions to start with in the templates. You can add questions very easily right here. And as you saw, I just went to the More section here and just clicked Delete to delete a particular question. Now, once we launch this, we want to, it's good to be consistent. We want to get people answering the same set of questions. So I would say, give yourselves a few minutes to get this first part dialed in so you have the basis for the survey that you want to ask on an ongoing basis. And okay, great. So let's preview again. And so we have how satisfied are you with the following with our cute slider scale here. And then we have a couple of other questions as well. This one is referred to as the Net Promoter Score. And the Net Promoter Score is a 0 to 10 scale. And we have a great information about this in our help section. There's a help file on Net Promoter Score. We have a informational video on rating scales and how to maybe pick the best one. So there's that as a resource as well. But Net Promoter Score is pretty popular, so I wanted to include it here. How likely would you be to recommend? Oh, I needed to finish. We'll show you how to actually edit that really quickly here. To recommend Sunscape to a friend or colleague, and it's from very unlikely to very likely, 0 through 10. And so the Net Promoter Score is a scale that has a spin. It basically says promoters are people that give you an 8, 9, or a 10. Neutrals are, I don't remember exactly, I think 4 through 7, and then detractors are the 0 through 3s. So the idea is that you get this net score of who your promoters are, or how likely your company is to be promoted. So it's a good scale to show ongoing measurement and watch for changes in that. And then I also included this, just a general, please rate your experience on iSunscape.com. And I chose, and I'll show you why I chose this one too, because there's an extra bell and whistle here that we're gonna talk about that gives a little bit more information to you as you're running your feedback program. And it helps a little bit from what we were talking about in the beginning, which was social media, the importance of social media. And so we'll just try that here on this. And so if I rate iSunscape.com as a 5, there's a little logic here that pops up that says, thanks for the great rating. Can you guys see that okay? It's a little bit small on the screen here. Thanks for the great rating. Please visit us on our social channels as well. And you can customize this text to what you want to say here. You can choose which platforms you want to promote. And you can choose the rating that will trigger this. So with a 3, maybe you don't want to say, hey, share this mediocre experience you had on all of our social media channels. That may not be the direction you want to go to. But when you do have somebody who has a good experience, sometimes it's just not top of mind for us to share that. And what do they say? If somebody has a good experience, they might tell 1 or 2 people. If somebody has a bad experience, they might tell 10 or 20. And that's amplified with social media. So we do want to take advantage of the times when they do have a good experience. We call this feature push to social, and it talks about it here in the guide right here. Share positive feedback while addressing the negative. So we want to be as proactive as possible. Do a little bit of self-promotion there if it's fitting, and then we also want to address potential negative scenarios as well. And we'll talk about that in just a second also. But let me pull my survey back up here. Okay, so that feature is called Push to Social, and we'll show that too in the background. And then any other comments / suggestions box. I think this is great. Sometimes people want to have a voice. That's one of the big benefits of the survey in the first place, is you're giving them a voice. They know you're listening. But also, if they have any free-form comments, that's a great thing to gather here. So we have maybe a little bit of redundancy. Kristen, you could decide internally which of these questions you wanted to, go with. But for now, I wanted to give you some choices here so that you had some things to go on. If there's something that's really relevant to your business that you want to add, it's very easy to do. So back in the administrator tool for Question Pro, it's really easy to add a question. Click Add a Question right there. And I think my video stream is hogging up all of my bandwidth. So it's being a little bit slow here, but you get all kinds of question types, 30 plus question types, all available for you to ask whatever you want. Let me try again here. We have too many people watching our HOA in the office here for it to catch up. But we'll come back to that. So so that's definitely something I wanted to cover. Some other things too is, so now let's say we've got our survey picked out. Where's our survey? We have our survey here. We've got it dialed in. You got a lot of bold designs in your eyewear, so I picked some bold designs for our colors here, but this can be very neutral as well. So, you know, Kristen, you can customize the theme here incredibly easily so that you get it dialed in and match your company brand. In case this, what is that? What do you think? Burnt sienna? In case this burnt sienna doesn't quite fit. So that certainly is an option. So that's really easy to do as well. Let's see if I'm getting any better here. This can be customized really easily. I added your logo really easily. So we're not going to show that right now. But you can really customize it very easily. You might just have to take my word for it. I'll try again in another minute and see if we can get the internet to catch up here. So another piece of this is promoting it. And there are many ways to promote your survey. One of the easy ways is maybe you put a card, like a tent card or a business card style, or a flyer inside the package when you ship it. That's a great way to get them. You'll have a QR code that they'll be able to show, you know, and you can customize it so that it's this kind of thing where, you know, we value our opinion. Please give us some feedback. It can have it could be branded. It has a QR code and a short URL so that somebody can easily share that, or excuse me, easily go online and take your survey. We'll show you how to distribute. As soon as I can get back up and running here, we'll show you how to distribute the survey. If you're looking for, if it's more product related, you can, we have options to get responses from non-customers. If you're looking for, maybe you want to make a change to the website and you want to get some feedback on how that would be received, that's a great thing to do. So beyond the customer feedback survey too, there are a lot of options here that you can do. So I'm going to take a moment here, we're going to pause for technical difficulties while I log back out and log back in and see if I can speed things up here a little bit. So what do you think so far? Give me some feedback here.
How often do you, like when you first implement this into a new site, I mean, how long does it take for customers to really start utilizing it? Do you see that they want to participate in it, or is it something that you kind of have to poke at them a bit to get them to play along?
That's a great question. You know, especially if it's a new program, you know, you could maybe try to go out, start it with a bang, and really do a big push about getting responses. Give it to them 3 different ways. Add it to your website so they can access it there. You know, there are a lot of ways that you could try to kickstart that. So I would say, you know, implement as many of these as possible right out of the gate. Sometimes it's a little bit slow to start. You know, honestly, it takes a little bit of prodding. Sometimes maybe a couple of reminders. That's built into the email tool that's part of Question Pro, so you can easily do that where you're actually sending the reminder if you don't hear back from them in a certain amount of time, and then just making it as accessible as possible. You know, really putting it everywhere you can. That's a key. An important factor to make sure that that you're getting good responses is just you know, on the website, via email, every way you possibly can.
Okay.
So yeah, definitely important. What do you think as far as poking around in here? Is it pretty straightforward?
It seems really, really user-friendly, drag and drop type stuff. It seems perfect because we have the people in our office, like everyone tends to poke at like the back end of our web store and the social media. Like we have one person specifically designated for all of our social media stuff. She's in charge of all of those updates and alerts and everything. But everyone who does touch it they're on varying levels of tech savviness, and so it seems like something that everybody can access and utilize easily, which is perfect.
Got it. Got it. Cool. That's great. Good. I appreciate that. Anything that could make it easier?
I would have to get in and dig around and poke at it myself a little bit, but right now it seems like something that's really user friendly.
Okay, great. Well, I've taken the liberty of setting up a few things for you in the account, and we want to make this an ongoing process here for you and for us to kind of follow along and see how things are going. So a couple of the things that you'll find are set up are the ability to receive a notification if somebody maybe has a lower score. That's something that will be a nice tool. And the goal is an kind of like a 5-alarm fire. If somebody is really struggling with their customer experience, it's great to have kind of all hands on deck, get people to immediately respond. And so one thing that's very popular is to set up a distribution list where you have, maybe an alias through your email system or a number of emails that you want to be notified if someone has a negative experience. The social media person, you, the owner, whomever you decide, and that can go out as soon as you get a lower rating, so that you can jump on the phone with that person, respond quickly, try to resolve the issue. Another immediacy factor is online rating sites. Often people will go directly to something like Yelp, which we can encourage someone to visit your Yelp profile if they give a positive rating. But sometimes people will seek those sites out, and often is the case where it's actually not related to your business. I think your Yelp profile even has something like that, where somebody was,
Yes.
placed a complaint. Can you? I know I'm putting you on the spot with this, but you have a little background for what happened there?
Well, yes, we had. It was one of our old kiosks that we had sold to a private entity, that we no longer have anything to do with at all, and haven't for years. Like, we don't even have the owner now any of his contact information to be able to get a hold of him to let him know that someone is unsatisfied. And apparently their kiosk has completely different set of terms and conditions. I mean, we have like a 100% return policy. Like, if we still have it in stock and if it breaks, we will give you a free pair. Like, we lifetime, as long as we've got it. Like, we have very open policies, and this kiosk apparently did not. And so, but he happened to keep the name and Sunscape on the kiosk, and so this woman had gotten very angry with us, and it wasn't our company. It has nothing to do with us anymore. He happened to just not change the name of the kiosk, and so yeah, that was a little frustrating, because there's nothing you can do about that. Once that review is up there, it's up there, and even though it wasn't our company, it wasn't our product, it doesn't have anything to do with us, it's still on our Yelp profile. And all I could do is, we can put in a response saying, we're sorry that happened to you, but that's not us. Yeah, it's a little disheartening, a little frustrating.
Yeah, well, certainly there are many stories like that where, I remember working with a home builder, a home remodeler, and they had, the neighbor go on their Yelp profile and give them a 1-star review because one of the contractors, parked in the wrong spot apparently in the neighborhood, or parked in their that particular home's preferred spot, and it wasn't the customer of the home remodeler, it was the neighbor down the street kind of thing. They gave him a 1-star review. So kind of a similar thing where, it wasn't really a customer, it wasn't related to the business, but it's an open platform. So what do? And you only have so many options. And I think you handled it perfectly. You went in there, you explained your side of things, tried to clear up any confusion, and then sometimes that's all we can do. But the more proactive we can be, the better. So, Kristen, you mentioned that. So it sounds like you had this wholesale side of things where they could buy the sort of the hut, the kiosk for the mall kind of thing. Is that what it was? And that was that customer, and then you also sell them online, or how does that work?
Well, we have Sunscape supplies. The kiosk thing was something that we don't even really do that so much anymore. Like, we mainly just distribute to all of the larger chain stores like Nordstrom's, Urban Outfitters, Hot Topic, like all of them, they carry our sunglasses. And then we have our e-commerce site that it's just more of our more fashion forward styles that are a little hotter trends that we can just go through a little quicker. Those are on our e-commerce site. The ones that are a little more fun, a little more crazy.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Great. A little more crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Good. That's awesome. Well, so what would be the ways that you could implement a feedback program? A monthly mailing might be a choice, where you send new customers or from new orders, they get a feedback survey request via email. How do you reach out to your customers now on an ongoing basis? Do you a monthly mailing, or like a newsletter kind of thing, or what sort of techniques do you use from a marketing perspective?
We've just set up an email newsletter system that our little social media bunny, she's going to be handling all of that. And I think that possibly, like, with every order, putting in a little card or a little something like that, like, and maybe including a discount with it. I mean, I don't know if you've seen, like, 5% off if you do. I don't know if you have that kind of, like, if they take the survey, do we have an option to, like, maybe notify us and we can give them a discount code or something like that? Because I think that if someone's getting something back, that's a big incentive to do it. I mean, I don't know if that's an option.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely part of it. It's the rewards module, and you can do a few different things there. One is we have some automated fulfillment set up for you. So if you wanted to do something outside of your business, you certainly could do that. A $5 Amazon.com gift card. People love Starbucks. Starbucks is one of the options. So you can do that, or you can do exactly what you're saying is, 20% off, 5% off, whatever you want to do, free shipping on your next order, etc. You can do that as well, and we have the tool so you can put in a series of coupon codes that will then be assigned as they go, and they'll be able to print off that coupon and then use it. Or you can have something general like, enter thanks for your feedback at checkout if your shopping cart's set up that way too. So it could be something. It can be a general coupon code that you change monthly, or it could be actually enter this list of valid coupon codes that will then become invalid once they get printed out, and you can track it that way, kind of thing. So yeah, rewards is a great way to give that extra little incentive, and if you can offer some sort of discount to get them back to your business, that's absolutely. Reva, what do you think? What do you think about that?
So, I think that really makes sense. But it really struck me as I was listening here that I think Sunscape started out as a retail company. It started out selling sunglasses at kiosks, and it has evolved over the years to now more of a wholesale company with the e-commerce component. And so I don't want anybody who's listening in or checks into this later to think that these kind of things are only for retailers or wholesalers. Service companies tend to not utilize a lot of what I call the tried and true tools that a lot of retail companies or wholesale companies use. And I think if you're a service provider, like I was listening to Kristen, if you owned a hair salon or a spa or a graphics design company, it's the same kind of thing. You should be able to utilize these things, and particularly anything like a hair salon where you're trying to build regular clientele, right? It's not a one-off. You're trying to get someone to come visit you every 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 2 months, whatever their own schedule is, and you should send them these things and say, what did you think? Do you like your haircut? And it's a great way for someone to note the stylist or, like I said, a day spa. This worked, and put it in a customer file so when that customer comes back, hey, this worked. Let's see if this is what they want to do or if they want something else. And I think service providers forget about stuff like this.
Yeah, one potential relevant example might be this. This could be fun actually. There could be something from Sunscape that says, and one of the question types is you can capture an image. So if they took a selfie of themselves with their sunglasses on, you could use that, put it in your newsletter, or tweet it out every time somebody sends in a photo or something.
And we would love to do that. And we actually Instagram, we found, because our customer base, especially for e-commerce, is a younger female market, like ages 14 to 24. That's and mainly girls. Like that's our kid. And so Instagram is huge. And so we do have things like like post a picture of yourself in our glasses and hashtag us, and we'll send you 10% off your order or whatever. Like we'll repost. And so yeah, we would love to have something like that to generate more pictures of our customers and be able to interact with our customers more. We want to be able to have that interaction, because I've seen that's a really strong way to get your customers to connect and bond to you, is like just those little things through Instagram or Twitter, like retweeting and whatever. And you want them to bond.
Mm-hmm. Sure, absolutely, and connect, definitely. Let me give another quick shout out for questions. I haven't pulled any in yet. That we have had a couple of things, so I want to make sure that I give everybody a chance, because we're getting close to the questions section of the program here. So another quick shout out for that. Ask your questions, please. Please do those now so that we make sure we answer them. Here was one I just wanted to show too, a correction on the Net Promoter Score. Thank you, Remy. It's actually 9s and 10s are promoters, passes are 7A, detractors are 0 through 6. So there we go. That's how the Net Promoter Score works. Appreciate that correction. Thank you for that. All right, so here's another one, and let me actually just jump into a couple of these too. Do you plan on including the maritime industry? If people want a maritime-related feedback program, absolutely. We definitely we want to be able to cater to the needs of our audience, so and our customer base. So if that's something that we can provide, absolutely. In fact, another quick thing to add to the comment stream, if you're watching this on Google+, is go ahead and type your industry if you would. Let us know in the comments what industry you're in. That's great feedback for us. That will help us know which next guides we want to be able to release.
So James, I want to point something out too, and partly it's my full disclosure, my relationship with Sunscape. The owners of Sunscape lived next door to me. Their dad still does, and so I was there from the very beginning of the company. So I know the evolution. And one of the things that I think that more entrepreneurs should be using their customer feedback program for is to explore different avenues. Like I said, Sunscape started out selling sunglasses at kiosks at actually only one outlet, and then grew and then changed to a wholesale company. And Kristen does these amazing sunglasses designs. You can see some of what she's done in back. I have a whole wardrobe of sunglasses by virtue of the fact that they used to live next door. But now the company also does tech designs for things like iPhones, pretty amazing looking cases. And that's a great way to ask your customers, what else would you like us to do? Especially your positive customers, your promoters, like, okay, we know you love this that we're doing. What else do you want? Is there any other product that, it's sort of like you're almost asking them to blue sky this for you and say, you don't know us for this, but what do you think? What do you think of us doing this, or what would you like to see from us? And it's a great way that you can expand your business using your existing customers as a base.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, the great selection of iPhone cases. My kids would love this, especially my teenage girls. I think would be all over some of these.
That's
too.
our market.
So, yeah. Oh, you're gonna get my 9-year-old girl with this one. So. You pretty much got the full. That's great. So yeah, that's great. Thanks for that feedback. It's funny. I don't know. I think Kristen's collection of sunglasses might challenge yours a little bit more. I'm guessing.
I'm guessing
so. Awesome. Well, yeah, definitely. That's great feedback. Let's and thanks. We're getting some comments saying what industry that you're in. So that's great. That's great. Keep those coming, please. And let's talk about a couple. I have a couple of bonuses here. I want to make sure that I share. So let's make sure I get these up so people can see them. And two things. One, I want to, and it will just help with this journey of implementing the feedback program and measuring it over time. Here's a great one. This was an ebook that we co-produced with Tech Biz Talk, and it's a great ebook. It's a PDF. It's where I got some of those factoids that I shared in the very beginning. So definitely download this ebook. That's the URL right there. In fact, I'll put it in the comment stream after too, so that people can see it there. That's a great resource when you're looking at how you measure this over time, what you're looking for, what kind of trends you should see, and then also we talked about survey rewards. We worked with a company that helps provide some of our automated fulfillment and creating a one-page best practices for rewards. So these are some things you want to think about that will help you make your rewards, just as beneficial as possible. Get the most value out of those things. So so let's see. I have some other questions here. Okay, so we're getting some more industries. Thank you for that. Here's one. Can you give an idea about the financial cost of this program? That's a great question, Gerard. Thanks for sharing that. And we can follow up directly if you'd like for more information, or you can take a look at our pricing page. But generally speaking, everybody starts with a free account. So just get in there and use the free account. We'll let you know if it's a premium service that you're interested in, so you can do it that way. You can take a look at the feature comparisons so that you can see some of these do require a premium feature, but you can launch a customer feedback program in 20 minutes today absolutely for free. And if you're getting so much feedback that you need some of the premium services, that's a great problem to have. So, but the most important thing is just getting it going. What we have, Riva, we have 24 million small businesses in the United States. I would guess the vast majority of those don't ask for feedback in any sort of meaningful, measurable way. And so, we've got great businesses like Sunscape Eyewear with awesome products, a great offering, really trying to focus on the customer, reaching out in a very manual, one-to-one way with every customer inquiry, and we want to make sure we give them some great feedback so that they can take their business to the next level, and that's what this really is all about. So with that, we've got some more questions like, let's see, here's a great one. Is there now, do you plan on creating a linking option, meaning we have a ticketing system and we would like to link each survey response to the user of the ticket that was sent the survey? Yes, you can do that. That's a great question. Thank you for that question, Amy. That's done in a couple of ways. We have either you can store custom variables that are unique to your business. You can upload those when you create the email list to distribute the survey, and we can pass that information along. So if you have information about your customer already, you don't have to ask them for it again. Or if you want to link it back, we can do that too. If you need more flexibility than the custom variables, which you can pass information back and forth on. And this gets a little technical. This is not quite as point and click, depending on how how complex your setup is. But we also have an API which you can use to implement more directly with internal systems. And that's a great best practice to have is, try not to ask for things that you already have. If you have some sort of system where you're capturing that, it's a great thing to do. So yes, depending on the level of your needs, we can provide that. So you can link that information more directly. Hope that answers that question. Oops. Meant to take that off of the screen here. There we go. Okay, good. So So that's it. So we talked about measuring this on an ongoing basis. So Kristen, what we'd like to do is have some check-ins if we can. Riva has offered to show progress on her public site, smallbizdaily.com. So we'd love to have some updates there. Love to be able to cover it on the Question Pros blog. And maybe we could set aside some time in a few months after a couple of check-ins to come back together on the video stream and maybe talk about how things are going.
That sounds fantastic. We would love that.
Great. Well, we're really excited to have your participation. Thank you for your time in here. It was great to have you on the call. Let me just make sure I don't have any more comments here. Here's an interesting one. I'm just starting a mobile car wash business with a couple of vans. Since I will not be on site, I would like to take control of how the customer satisfaction is being done by workers, what is okay and what needs to be improved, and it actually only gives me so many lines here. So he says, what needs to be improved, what advice do you have? Thought I might ask for answers to a questionnaire at the end of the service through a mobile device so that you can get some immediate response from the customers, can answer the data, will show what is really happening on site. Great question. Question Pro has a mobile app, so if you are face-to-face with the customer, and Riva, as you mentioned, this is great for service businesses as well, who are maybe they have an exit interview style of wrap-up for the transaction or the experience. It's great to be able to say, hey, you can hand them your iPhone with the survey pulled up, or hand them an iPad or an Android tablet or something like that, and say, if you could just give me some feedback now, I'd love to have that. And be able to capture that right away. So as far as the car wash business, yep, that would be a great way to be able to do it, is they could 1 or 2 question survey, maybe even a few more as they're finishing up the car wash. That sounds like a great use of that. And then you immediately have access. And I think if people have a good experience, they're usually pretty willing to, and especially if they don't have a good experience, they're usually pretty willing to give you some feedback. So that's a great chance. One thing I think I would caution is some people say, oh, you know what, I ask people how we did at the end of an experience, occasionally, so I get some feedback from that way. And I think that's a little bit of a pitfall, and you guys tell me your experience too, but from what I've seen is often people will talk with their feet, meaning they say, oh, great, thanks, yeah, everything was great, and then they just walk away. And you don't ever hear from that customer again, and they certainly don't ever buy from you, and you probably had no idea that there was a fly in their soup or whatever happened with that experience that was maybe circumstantial, or you just didn't know. And so if we just use the casual request for information occasionally, we often get biased response, because sometimes innately I think we're a little more willing to ask somebody that we know had a good experience how their experience was. So we have that side of things. And then if it's not anonymous, if they have to tell you face-to-face, then there's a little bit of a risk there of a confrontation potentially, or we're just a little bit fearful about that. So my experience has been, it's good to have it a little more structured. You want to have it in a way that you can measure it. What do you see out there, Riva?
Well, I actually think when I was listening to you, going back to the 9 to 10s, or the people who are going to promote you, and the 7 to 8s, or the passive, I was thinking about politics, right? So each party has people who love them and people who hate them, and the people who love you are going to tend to always love you. The people who hate you, a good percentage of them, you're never going to convert. So if they've had experience with you, you might be able to get them. But that passive group, that great independent, they're your potential customer base. Those are the ones you can really go in and get them to be promoters. And so part of that is by reaching out and making it easier for them. And like you said, I totally agree. At the end of an experience, sometimes people, it's just, I want to go. I want to get out of here. And so they're going to just say, yeah. And so maybe if you note them, depending on the kind of business you have, if you note them and then they said, yeah, that was great, and then you never hear from them again, if it's a business where you can track and it's repeatable, you might want to reach out a couple of months later and actually send them a survey and say, we noticed we haven't heard from you in a while. A lot of people do that. Here's a discount, or is there something we can do to make you want to do business with us again?
Yeah.
Be
Yeah.
proactive about it. I want to, before we run out of time, there's one thing that I think that I've noticed today, particularly in this age of social media. It's a lot easier to get information about your competitors. And I think a lot of small businesses have fallen into this trap of they're really competition focused. It's about beating the other guy. It's about leveling the playing field with bigger businesses, whatever it is. And I'm not saying that that's a bad goal, but I think Jeff Bezos from Amazon said, if you are focused on your competition, you're waiting for your competition to do something to react to. If you are focused on your customers, if you are a customer-centric company, it gives you the ability to innovate, to introduce new things. You're not reactive, you're proactive. And I think for small businesses, proactive is a much better stance for you to come from than a reactive one.
Proactive, customer-centric business. That's awesome.
Yes.
Great. Great. Well, just another quick question here I wanted to share on the screen. Tested the survey, did not know I could send high feedback. That's the push to social feature, Susan, so absolutely. In question types, it's the push to social feature, and you have a few different options on how you can do that, the type of rating scale that you use for that, but that's where that question is. And then just to wrap up here, Alan Russell, furniture retail in the solution business, turning people's home dreams into whatever budget come true. So awesome, Alan. Everybody else, give a shout out to your business. Tell us what you do. Ask any other questions. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Any final comments, Riva?
No, I think this is great. I'm really excited. I think, like you said, we're going to chronicle this on smallbizdaily.com, and we'll provide information over at Question Pro. Also, to talk about how Sunscape is using the program and how it's evolving and helping them, change and grow business. So I'm really excited about that.
Awesome, great. Kristen?
Thank you so much. This is going to be really interesting to see what what works, what doesn't, and just looking at reaching out to people in a new way. I'm excited to get in and play with this and just to see what kind of results we can get. And thank you for giving us the opportunity to work with you on this.
Yeah, we're very excited. Thanks for participating. If you two could hang on, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the call, but if you two could hang on for just a minute, we'll get some things on the calendar so we know when we're going to do that follow-up. And then, in a couple months, we'll talk about maybe doing a touch-base video conference like this so that we can share that with the audience and keep everybody in the loop as far as how things are going. Sound good?
Perfect.
Okay, well, thank you both for joining me today. Riva and Kristen, really excited. Check out smallbizdaily.com. Great resource. As Riva mentioned, we'll chronicle this for your eyewear needs and your smartphone case needs. Visit isunscape.com. And for your survey needs, please check out questionpro.com. Thank you all for your time, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.